Welcome back to Spitballin Cards. In today's video, we're talking about player profiles and projections. So there's another podcast talking baseball that I'm a big fan of. And on that show, they do like the top 30 teams and they'll go from like worst to best that their audience votes on. And they'll talk about like what's going to happen this year, what needs to happen for them to be successful. We're going to apply that to baseball cards. So I have MLB's top 100 players right now. And we're going to go from number 25 down to number 1 from now until opening day. We're going to be like probably 3 to 6 players per video. So that way there's not 25 videos to listen to, but where their cards are, what needs to happen in this season for their cards to go up, what cards we like. It'll be a little bit less structured. We're going to talk about that player in general. This first video, however, we would like to do 1 or 2 players each outside of the top 25. Players that we think could essentially have value or interesting case studies. So the player we'll start with is number 39. And that is Mike Trout. Mike Trout, number 12 last year, and the year before that, he probably was top 5. What do we think of Mike Trout cards, guys? What needs to happen in 2025 for Mike Trout to have a little bit hobby renaissance? What do we think? Start with you, Jeff.
Yeah, I do want to say that I saw the interview where he was asked this question this week if he had seen that he was number 39 on the list, and he said with a grin, yeah, he saw that. And he said, I haven't been out there the past couple of years, but I know what I am. So he seems pretty pumped to prove that number low as well as prove himself healthy. And that's the big key with him. As we've talked about for the last couple of years, I think this year every year it gets more and more important, but this year he has to stay on the field. He just has to stay on the field. There's a lot of people who have gotten back into the hobby and don't know Trout as an elite player, because he hasn't been elite for 5 years. He hasn't played over 140 games since 2016. So it's really a chance for him to come out and show the people in the hobby, the collectors and the baseball fans, that even if he's on a crappy team, he still can be one of the best players in baseball. So I'm hoping he stays healthy. I'm really excited about that.
With 40 solo home runs.
He's always kind of on a crappy team, to be fair, Jeff. Oh, it's unfortunate for them. All right. What do you think, Chris? What do you think Mike Trout needs to do?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what Jeff said. I think his like elite days are probably behind him at this point. But yeah, if he could just hit like 35 homers with a good on base percentage and just be good. He doesn't have to be great. Just be good. Play 140 games and be good. And then maybe he's got a chance to get out of that absolute disaster of a franchise that he's stuck on. But I mean, until then, I don't even know. And even if he does that, does anything happen with his cards? Do we get excited? I don't know. I just
maybe they stop falling. Maybe they stop falling at least, Chris. I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah. I don't know. There's just so much hype. There's so many players who, I hate to say it, are better than him now that it's hard to get excited about buying a Trout card right now.
Mm-hmm. To give you an idea, so this is Trout, right? Look at led the league in OPS plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row. Followed it up with a 167. 194 before injury, and then a 176.
Yeah.
And
which that 22 season was pretty good.
Yeah, but he only played 119
40
games.
home runs in 119 games.
Yeah, six WAR season in 120 games.
Yeah. That's what his potential still is. And we've seen a lot of great players have good years past 32, even though it feels like he's older than 32. He's going to be only 33 this year. It's interesting. But these are his projections right here, by the way.
Oh, boy. Wait, I don't see them. Where are they? Oh, down there. Oh, God.
17 home runs, 250 average, 859 OPS.
All right. Well, if he does that in 140 games, that's not good for his cards, for sure. Good.
Was that at bat number 260?
Yeah.
We said, 299 plate appearances, 261 at bat, which is an
so
average.
They're expecting a half season.
That's fair, right? I mean,
totally fair.
It's insane to expect 150 games. They did announce today he's going to right field, so that should help. I would almost stick him in left, so he doesn't have to throw as much. But I don't know. It's good to see him out of center though, because that's not sustainable, obviously.
So right now, Trout is averaging around the 100th pick in fantasy baseball. I've reached. I think I've picked him in the last 3 seasons or 3 of the last 4. I probably didn't have him in 22. That's probably what happened.
The year he was good. Yeah.
But I just keep on hoping. There's 2 guys. Every year I draft Royce Lewis and Mike Trout and just go like one of these guys will stay healthy and be amazing. And then they both get hurt.
At the end of April, your teams must just be killing it.
Yeah, they're doing fantastic. But with Trout, what's surprising? I'll pull up a chart that is. This surprises me, and some of his cards are down. But I mean, this is the last 6 months on Trout's update. We all know the card, his PSA 10, and it's flat. It's basically flat. Like this card hasn't. I thought this card would be like a $700 card by now. I really did. I thought it would be tanking. In fact, I think we talked about that on at least one video in the past.
Right.
This price shocks
we'd be
me.
interested in buying it at 500.
Yeah, 500 was like the buy point for a lot of us.
Yeah. So in some ways, he's still holding fairly strong. And actually, over the last 90 days, on all of his cards, so 927 different cards that we've tracked in Market Movers, he's actually up 7% on those cards in the last.
Yeah, looking at this chart, Ty, I can't quite see the bottom. So it's the end of the season. He was at about 700, right? And then, so now maybe people are thinking.
Yeah,
happens every year.
So the lowest sale was 650 on an individual sale, and the high was a little over 1,000. So
this card does have stuff going for it aside from Mike Trout. It's like the iconic card of the era, which helps. Can we pull up a Bowman Chrome autograph, a base, real quick?
Yep.
I'm surprised too how many of his Topps update have sold in a PSA.
A ton, yeah.
Like on February 11th, which is a week ago, one sold at auction with DC Sports for over $1,000. And then immediately, it looks like right after that, someone snagged like $995, $860, $880, $925, and $990 in the next like 24 hours. We're all just like scooped up. I don't know. People thought here comes the boom is happening. Better grab one now. I don't know.
So his BGS 9.5, 8%.
It's down 8%. What's the low sale there in the last 6 months? Looks like it was in October for that blue line.
Low sale was 3,900.
That's a pretty good price. I mean, like that's getting close to like what Juan Soto was going for last year at one point. I think he wasn't that high. He was like 2,500 for his base, but I don't know. His prices are approaching a territory where it's very intriguing. I think a lot of people are realizing that, which is why they're bouncing back.
Yeah.
What a crazy time. Was that low price? Was that an auction? Who's auctioning off Mike Trout in October? That's a terrible idea.
Somebody desperate.
Right.
Someone into their rent money.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Auction 29 bids. November 3rd, the day after the World Series ended, I think, right? Or is that 2 days after?
Here. There's a few of them here, yeah.
Oof. Wow. Okay, so Mike Trout, I think we all agree what needs to happen. A good year. Just stay healthy. I think that's all it comes down to. If we want to see a big increase, I think he needs to get traded to someone else.
Yeah.
Which I think he's willing to do at this point. He's willing to move to right field. I think he sees the writing on the wall. The Angels, if they're out of the playoffs this year, they have the worst farm system in baseball currently.
Yeah.
In 2021, they drafted a pitcher every single round. None of them have made the big leagues yet. It's just amazing.
How insane is it? The team that has been bad for a decade has a terrible farm system at the same time. Like the level of incompetence is staggering.
In a big market, no less.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
In their defense, they've been promoting their players quick. Like Nolan Shanaway was brought up really fast, which hurts the farm system. Same with what's his name, the shortstop Neto. That hurts the farm system when you bring people up. Where like the Dodgers stash him for a decade, so every single list they keep getting high people. That hurts. But it is amazing how they haven't been able to develop. They haven't drafted. They haven't signed. I think some of the worst contracts in baseball history are the Angels, like multiple of them.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unfortunate. And honestly, if Trout keeps going, he could be one of those at this point.
Yeah, he could. One thing I want to add in, he needs to play in the All-Star game. Like, Jeff, what was the last All-Star? He's voted in almost every year, but I think
2019 was the last All-Star game he played in.
Yes.
Yeah.
This last year was the first time he didn't get in, but he was voted in every year of his career besides 2011. And then 2020, there was no All-Star game.
Right. Yeah. Stuff like that matters. We need to see him on. And that's for him. That's like that's the big stage for him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we see a boom if he gets traded to Phillies and then win a World Series. That's when you'll see the big moment of his cards, which is obvious. That is every Trout fan's dream right now.
Oh yeah, if he gets traded, I think the boom will happen as soon as that trade is done. People will start buying into big playoff moments. That would be incredible. Even as a Braves fan, I I'd love to see him and Harper on the same team. If we could somehow get the Phillies in the AL East, that'd be even better. But that's pretty unrealistic. I'd love to see him go to Boston, although their position players are getting pretty stacked up there.
Giancarlo Stanton is going to miss opening day. He has dual elbow tendonitis. Yankees
swung
need
a bat in weeks. Yeah.
And so put Trout at DH, put Judge and right. That's a fun team if you add Trout to that lineup.
Think about the trade though, that's there's sort of an outline there. If Stanton probably has a no trade, he'd have to waive it. But the Yankees could send Stanton to Anaheim or to the Angels. Angels send Trout back. I mean, the Angels eat the Stanton contract. Maybe the Yankees have to include something, maybe one young player, but it does help offset some of the Trout money.
I don't know. Stanton was pretty good in the playoffs last year.
He was.
But
I say send Jason Dominguez for Trout. Make the Angels pay the whole contract for Trout and just
there's no way Moreno is going to pay that contract to have him play for someone else.
There's no way Moreno. He's so stubborn.
No.
Okay, that's Trout. I think it's a good place to wrap that up. So next player, Ty, you are on the clock. Who do you want to talk about?
Okay, I'm going to pull something up that will probably be immediately very obvious to everybody looking at this. And this player, by the way, is the MLB 100, number 32 on their 2025 list. So what we're looking at here,
second half OPS plus there.
That's right. This is the big thing here. And we've talked about this guy in the past. So this is the guy I'm kind of watching and hoping for. And that player right now is Corbin Carroll. So Corbin Carroll actually has been trending a little bit hotter lately. I was looking at his cards, and in Market Movers, he's up 11% over the last 90 days on all of his cards being tracked. So he has been seeing some momentum. He's a guy that surprisingly, I thought I was going to be able to flip the stack of his Bowman First refractors that I bought last year just because they were cheap, and then he had been catching on and getting really hot. But yeah, it was a tale of two seasons last year for Carroll. 5 home runs in the first half in 94 games, 17 in 64 games in the second half. Just really 2 different seasons. We've seen that from players in the past, other players. Soto's had obviously seasons like that early in his career and a lot of others. So I'm hoping that the version of Corbin Carroll we get coming into 2025 is the second half version, just carrying that momentum through and not the first half. And I think if he does, I think his cards will become at least semi-electric again, because people remember him from 2 years ago. He was on, Rookie of the Year, focal point of that team that went to the World Series. And he's obviously got all the potential in the world. And they're obviously in a very loaded division. And we know the Dodgers are the favorites, but the Diamondbacks are no joke. Like, they've got a very talented roster, and Ketel Marte had a fantastic year last year. So they're
added Corbin Burns.
Yes. Yep. Good point. So they've got talent. They can compete, and they need Corbin just to show up. Corbin at law.
Mm-hmm. Nice pick.
If the Diamondbacks were in the NL Central, not a shot at you, Jeff, I think there'd be a lot more excitement because he's going to be right. They'd be the favorite to win the division pretty easily, I'd say. They're going to be great this year, potentially. On paper, they're going to be great. So I've always liked Corbin Carroll. I think the weirdest thing about him is the reason he doesn't have higher WAR numbers, because he is the best base runner in baseball, like bar none. He is the best current base runner in baseball, not just stealing, but everything. He has a noodle arm and can't really play defense for how fast he is. And if he could figure that out, that's what needs to happen. We saw this with Bobby Witt. That's what we were always saying. If he could just play better defense, then he became the best defender at shortstop in the league, one of the top 3 or 4. I think if Carroll could do that same thing, that's what's going to separate him from where he is now, because his WAR number will go from 5 to 8, right? And those are the numbers that people start to think, wow, that's MVP caliber. He's a 5-tool player. My biggest fear with him, though, is just his shoulder dislocating and then him being out a year, like we see. So
yeah, it's weird that they stick him in right field when he throws like Michael Rubin. Like, stick him in left field and just protect that arm a little bit, because guys, he gives up first to third quite a bit. I will let everyone know, toward the end of last year, I traded him in a keeper fantasy league, and I currently own 0 Corbin Carroll cards. So if that doesn't scream 2025 NL MVP, I don't know what does.
That's the safest bet in baseball, everybody. Heard it here first.
That's pretty crazy.
So
Yeah.
anything else you think he needs to do?
I would say he should connect with Ichiro and figure out his calisthenics program and arm strengthening program so that he can develop some throwing strength and health, because they seem to be similar stature but very different fielding.
That team could take off a little bit. I think they're going to miss Christian Walker. He was a really big part of that, and I don't think they re-signed Suarez either. So that's a lot of home runs. Kind of.
They brought in Josh Naylor.
Yeah, they got the Naylor.
Yeah. Okay.
And then who else did they bring in? They brought in someone. They brought in Corbin Burns. That doesn't really help the lineup, though.
Yeah, Montgomery should have a full spring training.
I hope Montgomery bounces back and sticks it to him, man. Getting badmouthed by the owner like that, and I hope he has a great year.
Yeah, that was a very funny. And when the owner said it, my first thought was like, I can't believe he's just talking crap about his own player like that.
Me
and
too.
then I was like, I looked at his numbers again, and I'm like, well, he paid him a lot of money, and
it was pretty bad,
absolutely terrible. So maybe that lights a fire under him. Maybe that's how you motivate.
Totally agree.
Well, yeah, Arizona could be good. I mean, a lot of people are picking them to finish ahead of the Padres, even so, and they could be exciting in the playoffs if they get there.
Yeah, we saw that in 23.
Yeah,
they
sure did.
Off. They were basically one Corey Seager away from winning the World Series.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Seager, they would have won the World Series.
Yes,
probably.
yeah. If Sewald nails down the save in Game 1, that World Series might go the other way. The momentum might have been too much, but
same thing with the Yankees-Dodgers. If the Yankees win that first game, it's a completely different game. It's a split series of 2-2 instead of 3-1.
In a 7-game series, that Game 1 is so pivotal, especially if a team comes close to winning and doesn't. That's pretty demoralizing.
Yeah, especially the road team. If the road team can steal Game 1 and not get their guts ripped out, like happened to both those teams, it's big.
Both of those World Series felt over. I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the Dodgers people, but was basically saying, "Oh no, it was on your podcast. It was your podcast. It was
Mike Mahan."
He said they won the series in one swing, and they totally did a Freddie Freeman in that series. Like, it was just over. It was the worst.
Yeah, I think
managerial decisions
he said something about winning 4 games with one swing.
Yeah.
Blame Judge all you want, but I think Aaron Boone lost them that Game 1, and then poor defense from everybody lost them the rest of the series. Honestly, they would have. It was tough.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a Getty image that they'd never use, but there's a shot of Mookie Betts sprinting towards first, and behind him is Garrett Cole pointing to first. And I would love to see that be like a Mookie Betts SSP. They'll never use it, and they shouldn't use it because it's not.
It's very unprofessional. Yeah,
but I mean, that should be, to me, that was the most egregious. I've said it before. That was the most egregious play in that inning. Like, if he just does the thing that he's doing now in the first or second day of spring training, 5 or 10,
5-0 heading into the 6th inning.
Yep. Inning's over. The drop doesn't matter. The Volpe throw doesn't matter.
And also, after the biggest thing, though, after Garrett Cole blew that, you could see he was just so mad that it was over. I don't know why they didn't do a pitching change. There was a lot of things that Aaron Boone blew again by not pulling him out after the second hit, right? Like, he just terrible.
It's crazy. They never even went to the mound.
They didn't even give him a break. He's out there.
I was texting Jeff, like, that's 28 pitches or something without a mound visit. Maybe Boone was just too afraid to go out there. I mean, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near Garrett Cole at that point. And it's also worth noting what an absolute beast he is, because he went out and threw, I think, 2 more innings after that.
Yeah. I really do blame a lot of that on Boone, unfortunately. Anyways, next player. Who do we got? Jeff, who are you picking? Is your jersey any idea?
My jersey is an indication, and I want to pick the player that's listed as the top catcher on MLB's top 100, and that's William Contreras. He's listed, I believe it's at 28. I think just out of the top 25. Yeah, 28. Catching, it's really an unsung position, especially in collecting. I think the next catcher on the list is Rushman. He's out of the top 50. I don't know. I want to see if catchers can ever be collectible again, and if any could be. Contreras has a pretty good chance because he's really good on both sides of the field, especially offense, which we know that's what matters. He plays a lot of games. The last couple seasons, he's really established himself as an elite catcher. And I don't know. Catchers don't get a lot of, we talked about pitchers a lot recently, not getting collectors' respect, but catchers are even further down on that totem pole. And some people thought Adley was going to kind of change that, but he seems to plateaued quite a bit. And I think he and Contreras are probably the same age or near the same age. And Contreras seems to be on an upward trajectory while Rutschman is definitely plateauing. So I'd like to see, I don't know what he has to do in order to see his cards get movement. He finished the top 5 in the MVP voting last year. And yeah, that's a pretty interesting.
Pretty open and closed case right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a fun choice, Jeff. And Contreras is maybe the one time there Alex Anthopoulos got whooped on a trade.
Yeah. That was my question is do you wish you still had him, Chris? I know the first year you had the guy from
Sean Murphy.
We got Sean Murphy and they locked him up because he's great with the run game. And like he had a decent, I think year 1, Murphy was probably a little bit better, but by year 2, Murphy blew out his oblique on opening day. I think he was like leading. He was like the what's it called, Grapefruit League home run leader. So, fantasy baseball players like me were expecting his breakout, and he tore his oblique on opening day, missed 3 months, came back, was a shell of himself, couldn't throw, couldn't hit. And Contreras just, like Jeff said, top 5 MVP. Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, I think he finished exactly 5th.
Yeah, he had a great season.
He did.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
MVP finishes for good reason. I mean, 4.9 WAR per catcher. Yeah,
155 games is pretty rare to see for a catcher. Granted, he played a few games at DH, but he spent the majority of the time behind the plate. And so having him out there, he and Willie Adames were really the glue that held the team together last year. Yeah, 120 games behind the plate.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So I guess what needs to happen for Contreras to increase in value? That's the question. Can he be a 4.5 WAR player the next 3, 4, 5 years?
And will that matter?
Yeah,
I mean,
does he need to
feel
have
like
an MVP caliber season, like a Mauer to get there?
It wouldn't hurt.
It certainly couldn't hurt. Yeah, I just don't know. Even if he puts up another 4.5, 5 WAR season, even for the next couple of years, I don't know how collectible that'll make him. But it does make me wonder long term, looking at what the Hall of Fame metrics are going to be for catchers versus. We talked about how pitchers are going to have to change and their standards. It's going to be interesting. Like, who's the next catcher up? Molina, probably. Yeah, to hear Molina.
Yeah, I think Posey has to get in first.
Once Posey's
those two, the only one that's viewed as a Hall of Famer, whether I agree or disagree with it, is Salvador Perez currently. He has like 15 FWAR, but for whatever reason, he has all the accolades, and every single writer just loves him. So that means he'll probably get in.
I think he does?
I don't know. I have mixed emotions on it, but he's probably the only active who is viewed as a Hall of Famer, right? Or I'm forgetting anybody. Realmuto's probably not there yet.
No, and I don't know if Perez. I mean, he might get in, but I don't think he's a shoe-in.
No, he needs a few more. He's got to count. He's got to get those counting stats.
Yeah, yes, and that's how he could do it. He puts up a couple more years of 30 home run seasons. He could get in.
The argument for Sal Perez, I can show this real quick. I know this is a tangent, but
the World Series.
Yeah.
World Series, 5 Gold Gloves, 5 Silver Sluggers. He has an All-Star Game MVP, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 All-Stars. Like, it's tough. And plus, he has the most home runs ever by a catcher in his season with 48. That one random year. The only year he's ever hit more than 30, he hit 48. So he has those going for him.
How many catchers with 350 home runs aren't in the Hall of Fame? I feel like that's probably a number that gets most catchers in.
I can look real quick. And he has a real chance at 400. He's only 34. Only 34.
Yeah, I think by the time he ends his career, he'll be in. If he can just do this for a couple more years, he'll put up 2.5 WAR seasons, but hit 30 home runs. Great.
Back to William Contreras. He has a Stadium Club rookie auto he's obviously in a Braves jersey, so I like it. Jeff, you should look into this. He's like fielding a bunt, and it's just a cool looking shot. Like he is, I like it. It's a vertical card. I know I usually prefer horizontal, but it's a really cool looking Stadium Club rookie card.
I might have to check that. I don't know, Teapot, if you have his card information, but his cards aren't very expensive.
I can pull it up. I was going to ask you, do you know, Jeff, what his most expensive, do you know what his Bowman Chrome Super Auto sold for 2 years ago? A year and a half ago, actually.
No idea.
I was just about to share my screen. Okay, I'll let Scott drive here.
Sorry. Do you want me to?
You're good.
This is just to answer your question. I pulled up catchers with 300 home runs. So the only two is Lance Parrish is the only one.
Okay.
Over 300 home runs that didn't make the Hall of Fame.
Over 300, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's all.
Yeah.
An unflattering photo on Baseball Reference. Sorry.
Lance
So
Parrish might eventually get it.
5,500 is what this sold for a couple of years ago.
In the fall of 2023.
What's that, about 18 months ago? Not even 17 months ago.
That might have been just before the trade, maybe.
So higher or lower, if this card were to surface today, would it sell for more or less than 50?
Higher, I would say, for
Probably
sure.
a lot higher,
yeah.
It's at least a 5-figure card now.
Yeah. Yep.
It should be at least 20K, yeah.
Oops.
Not of our money, but of someone else's money.
Exactly. Someone else's money. So, yeah.
Hey, we have 7,000. We have 7,000 subscribers now. We could all source it. If we each pay $2, all 7,000 of us, we probably could get pretty close to buying that card.
So Adley Rutschman's BGS 9.5 refractor auto red in September of 23 sold for 14.4.
Yeah.
So
wow, the red
2.5 times, more than 2.5 times what.
Adley had a lot of hype.
A lot of hype.
People ignoring his age too.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Anytime I hear hype about catchers in the Prospect 100, I am very cynical about it because their prices. Somebody needs to do a data dive on that because look at catchers, all the hyped catchers, and just none of them hold the prices once they make it to the majors. They just don't.
Yeah. No, look at the young guys. Yeah.
Yeah, outside of
Francisco Alvarez for the Mets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But a lot of even like the good Hall of Fame level catchers don't have a ton of value in hobby and variety.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much like bench and Posey probably are 1-2. Like Posey has some really rare SSPs, and like when his big Bowman Chrome autos come up, the Giants fans just are obsessed with him, as they should. I mean, 3 World Series will do that for a guy.
Yeah.
Yadier Molina has a good following, one team guy that helps a ton for him.
Oh, yeah.
And World Series winner.
And he's got his rookies in that his rookie. His rookie's 04, right? So he has that Topps Chrome like red X Factor. That's really, really cool. Color match rookie year. Like that's a huge card.
Yeah, it's like the most expensive Pudge card I can find at 4,400 for number 14.
So. Out of 14 too. So that'd be probably 10 grand now out of 14, I'd say. Or closer, don't you think, Ty?
Nah, I don't know.
I don't know the Yvonne Rodriguez collector grouping out there.
It'd be more than that, but
Jeff, I wanted to ask you when Contreras isn't catching, does he get DH at bats for the Brewers? Yeah. And does he ever play first?
Rarely. I think I know Scott had it up there. He had 120 games at catcher. I'd say probably the other 35 games he played, more than 30 were DH at bats.
That's a big deal for catchers today, that they get 3 games to take their knees off and they can actually still hit.
Yep.
He's played. Okay, here's a trivia for. I think Ty's looking something up. For William Contreras, he's played 341 games as a catcher. He's played one other position in his career. That's left field. How many games has he played in left field?
Oh, I'm sure that was when he was with Chris's team.
Yeah, I'm sure they stuck him out there in maybe just for an inning or 2 periodically. I'm gonna say less than 10.
I'd say 4 games.
1.
Yeah, it was probably 1 inning.
He must have been real bad. A lot of negative numbers for that 1 game. He's only played.
Seriously?
He's only played not catcher 1 game of his career outside of DH, of course. So
that's fine. All right.
Okay. So he hasn't played. He didn't get any first base.
0 games. DH, catcher, that's it. And then 1.
I guess you might as well, if you're giving him time off, you got that DH spot.
Yeah.
Plus, the Brewers don't have an amazing DH they need to have in the lineup, right?
Yeah. They're going to rotate through, which is what they've been doing. Yelich will get his DH at bats again.
If he was on someone like the Yankees with the Stanton, who's penciled in every day, then he'd probably play first, right? But there's just no one there for the Brewers yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Ty, you looking something up?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you were looking at Piazza's most expensive sale.
No, let's just keep going.
All right.
Okay, and then who else hasn't gone yet? You haven't gone,
Okay,
Chris?
I have not gone yet. I want to choose someone that I am reasonably sure we've never talked about on this channel. So it's going to be quick, but this is guy number 36, who is kind of an interesting case here. I'm talking about the newly acquired Dodger pitcher, Blake Snell.
Yeah.
Blake Snell is interesting because he has 2 Cy Young awards. And I think if you get a 3rd Cy Young without any hint of steroids or human growth hormone, I feel like it's a pretty good shot of you eventually getting into the Hall of Fame.
I don't know if there's
and now
which seems crazy.
2 things just happened by you speaking his name. One, he just tore his elbow, and Scott just bought a $5,000 card of Blake Snell.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if there are $500,000 cards of Blake Snell. So Blake Snell is also 32 years old. I went on Market Movers. His Bowman Chrome prospect, first Bowman Chrome refractor auto, numbered out of 500. The last sale, $116. His blue refractor sold for $200, and the last sale of his base Bowman Chrome auto was yesterday, February 16th.
$45.
$14.
Oh,
1-4.
Now, yes. Now, to be fair, the 3 sales before that were all between it looks like $40 and $50. So maybe this was an outlier. Maybe it was an auction. Maybe there's some damage. I don't know. But
can I say one thing about that really quick?
Sure.
All those prices, I'm actually going to be doing a video next week on this, but all those prices align with Chris Sale. They're actually the exact same price. So who are you buying, Blake Snell or Chris Sale? Because they're almost exactly the same aside from that $14 sale. Which is interesting.
Personally, I'm buying Blake Snell to hurt the Dodgers. I will not touch this. I will not touch a Chris Sale card. I can't do it.
And I love you for that. I love you for that, Chris. But
I love him.
It's foolish to think that those would be the same price.
I think that's what kind of answers your question on Blake Snell. It's is he already too expensive, right? But here's his superfractor if you want it for $20,000 on eBay.
See that's all right. Again, we don't have $20,000, but if you got $200. And you're looking for a pitcher, God help you. If you're looking for a pitcher, this is a guy with 2 Cy Young awards who just got signed by arguably the best team we're ever going to see play. And he'll be there for 5 years.
His red Bowman first, PSA 9, sold for $1,800 last August.
300?
One of his very best cards.
$1,800 for his red Bowman Chrome Auto first.
That's one of his 6 best cards.
Yes.
Yeah. $1,800.
So how many? Let's see if you can name the 7 pitchers in baseball history who've won 3 Cy Youngs.
Jeez, I can't.
Clemens,
yeah.
Obviously, we get that one right out of the way.
Cy Young.
Randy Johnson.
Yeah, Randy Johnson.
Nope.
Greg Maddux.
Randy Johnson.
No, Randy Johnson has 5. He got
Randy Johnson. Yes.
Randy Johnson has 5.
Randy Johnson has 5. Yeah,
that's the stupid AI generated Google response. So it's
you can't trust that.
No.
Let me go to the actual.
Oh man, trivia question without the right answers.
That's okay. While he's looking it up, Jeff, we can rattle through these, no problem. Not Nolan Ryan. Sorry.
Not Nolan Ryan.
Roger Clemens. I get those 2 confused in my head. Randy Johnson. Greg Maddux has 4. I think Tom Seaver, I believe, has 3. I think Carlton.
3.
I think Carlton
has 3. Koufax.
Oh, does he have 3? I know he's got 2.
He's got 2. Yeah.
There's 10 pitchers. Sorry, 11 pitchers who have gotten who've gotten 3 or more.
Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro's got 3.
Justin Verlander.
Yep. Max Scherzer.
Kershaw. Did we say Kershaw? Does he have 3?
Yep, Kershaw.
You said Randy Johnson, right?
Yeah, we said Johnson, Maddux, Seaver.
You said Roger Clemens.
Yeah, Clemens. I think we said Steve Carlton.
Bartolo Colon.
9.
3 home runs.
Livan Hernandez.
Did you say Pedro?
Yes, Pedro.
So there's one you're missing. It's the 11th.
Johan Santana should have 3, but voters got
3rd.
used by Bartolo Colon's win total.
Francisco Liriano.
Did you say Jim Palmer?
Jim Palmer only has 2, right?
3.
Does he have 3?
Oh, Jim Palmer's the other one? Okay, well, there we go.
And Sandy Koufax.
Oh, Koufax did have 3. Jeff, you were right. Good job.
But so that puts every single one of those players as a Hall of Famer. So if that's all he needs, he has very interesting stats, though, because he only has 23 career WAR because he hardly pitches.
Yeah.
He does not throw very many innings.
Billy Wagner. Who would you rather have in the Hall of Fame, Billy Wagner or Blake Snell?
That's it. Who has more innings right now? Blake Snell or Billy Wagner for the
Does
career?
he have over
Has to be
900
Billy
innings?
He has almost 1,100, so I guess he beats
Okay,
Billy
so
Wagner.
he has
Favorite.
more.
There you go.
I mean, look at those WAR seasons. He's had 2 world-beating seasons.
He's
That's
had
like
2 good years ever.
That's like Bryce Harper, like to the nth degree.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. Yeah, it's like Bryce Harper times 5. But I mean, it's interesting. He's got. What if he can actually stay healthy? My God, how many innings did he throw? He threw 104 innings last year, and he got paid what 100 and what is it? $80 million.
He had
$70 million.
He had a good year. Yeah, hardly innings. He didn't get signed forever, so
Right.
He has the highest strikeout per 9 innings average in baseball history at 11.2. History of baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy that people were citing Billy Wagner's when they said to vote for him. I'd much rather vote for Blake Snell.
Hey,
but again, he's still 32.
How much?
He's got a chance to rattle off some really good years with a fantastic team behind him.
Yeah, add a couple championships to that resume.
I know wins matter to people, but I mean, do we think
how much does this hurt his collectability?
He is
honestly, this isn't even the profile that shows like the negative chin,
well, he's got that goatee. Kyle Tucker's got to work on the goatee as well. But
yeah.
I will say Snell is a really fun interview. Like he's been on the MLB Network.
I agree.
He's been on like Fox a couple of times and on ESPN he is a really funny, interesting guy.
Yeah, when I listen to him, it actually makes me like him more. When I've listened,
yeah, he kind of seems like a guy Ty would collect. If I'm being fully transparent.
Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll just go buy that $20,000 Snell comics. Everything here.
That's just the asking price. If Filmington were on, he could tell us what the multiplier is. Like, what's the multiplier?
Based off of that $1,800
$5 or something.
Yeah. So I mean, then it's a $9,000 superfractor.
Yeah, 9 to 10K.
Yeah,
that sounds
like Caglione's.
Yeah.
How many players, Scott, have had more Cy Young awards than All-Star appearances?
Oh, wow.
I don't know the answer to this, but I'm guessing it's going to be one.
It's got to just be one. Unless someone like Porcello or like Mark Davis never made the All-Star team.
Oh, Davis made it.
Hey,
I remember
Porcello is a good one. He might not have.
But yeah, Jeff, that's a great trivia question.
Porcello has 0 All-Star appearances in a Cy Young.
All right, well, there we go. So yeah, that's
the 2 guys.
You guys want to see his baseball reference page?
Who has multiple Cy Youngs?
Oh, that can't be. God, that's tough.
Look at this. So this is Porcello's baseball reference page. Good career. 18 points. Almost the same as Blake Snell, really, overall in regards to value.
You didn't
he
share
has 1 season above 4.
We can't
and
see
he
it.
has 1 year with like
Share
awards.
Throw it up there. But yeah, Porcello was like the anti-Snell, though. He was just eating innings.
Yeah.
Chad Eating dinner right here. Here's his only good year.
Look at he 2,100 innings.
He's the anti-Blake Snell. We mixed
2.5 Billy Wagner's.
Wow.
He was good for Detroit one season. So here's the big question with Snell is that Game 6, 2020, should he have been pulled?
No.
He was not happy.
No.
That was the dumbest mistake I've ever. One of the worst aside from Boone in the last.
You guys were ranting about Boone, so I had to.
No, Dodgers couldn't do anything against him. They pull him out immediately. Mookie gets an RBI double, immediately.
Yeah, and he brought in. I think it was Nick Anderson. Not that I remember this specifically, but like I only remember this because he went to the Braves. But that dude was lights out during the regular season, but then was getting killed in the playoffs. And like Kevin Cash just didn't adjust. He just kept treating him as though he were regular season guy, but he just wasn't. And no, worst managerial move of all time is still Grady Little. It will always be Grady Little. I think that's the worst. Certainly the worst managerial move I saw happen in real time.
What happened?
Pedro?
Yeah, the Red Sox manager that just left Pedro in the 8th inning in Game 7. Just doesn't make any sense. When you watch it they've replayed that game a lot, and it's like he very clearly was done, and Grady Little was like frozen in the dugout, couldn't move. It's weird.
Hey, also Ty, not change the subject. I'm going to. Blake Snell ends in 3 hours. Go get your first Blake Snell, 58 $58.
So that's a blue, right?
Blue. That's a really good auto too. Look at that autograph. That's really cool, Actually.
He signs his name exactly how you would think he'd sign his name.
Exactly. I was just thinking that.
Looks like a DMV signature on your license
It's
when
like
you were
a
15.
fourth grader practicing his cursive
Snell's
writing.
That is exactly what it looks like. Yep.
Ty, you got to win that.
Go for it,
Maybe.
Ty. Do it.
My first Snellzilla.
What's the centering on that blue? Could you pull it up again? Let's spend some Teapot's money.
Let's have
Left
some
right.
FOMO here.
That's definitely been soaked. What does Neo call it? The Kurtz juice.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
No.
that's a good looking card. If you get that,
All right,
for
maybe
less
this should be our first Spitballin purchase.
Yeah, should we, as a group, buy
What's
this
his-
as a team?
We're gonna
What's
buy it with
his
our
jersey
spitballing
number?
funds.
Right?
I'm not sure. I think 2
Cover
months
it.
worth of funds, Ty.
Can we cover that?
Funds.
Yeah, after my wife sends the thumbnail bill, we might not be able to afford this card.
Yeah. Extortion starting.
All right. How much time do we have? What are we at right now? Do you know? What time do we start?
What time does we want to give? We are at just under 40 minutes.
All right. One guy, quick. Let's do Jacob deGrom, number 99 on MLB's list. What do we think of Jacob deGrom?
Just literally repeat everything we said about Trout, and we're good.
Except
Yeah.
DeGrom is on a team that should be really good. So DeGrom
There's a
could pitch
path
in
for
October, and he could throw like a 7-inning shutout, 7 innings, a 2-hit ball in October.
Absolutely good.
That's
He
true.
very well could.
I don't know. He's a guy that's
And then what?
About.
What for his cards?
Oh, right after that, Jeff, his career's over. But his cards, I mean, they should move up, right? I think they protected him last year. He threw a little bit at the end of the season, right?
He threw like 12 innings.
Yeah, he had a dominant 0.4 WAR season in only 10 innings.
In 10 innings, though, like think about it. That's pretty crazy. That's like barely
it's
over
really
one
crazy.
start.
Yeah.
He has 1,300 innings. He has a pretty good dang peak right here. These 2 years are when he was really who he was. 2020, he was good too. But 2 Cy Youngs, he also could win a third, technically. The AL. Who's the best pitcher in the AL? We have Max Fried, Garrett Cole. Who else is a Young?
Wow. I'll just wait till Teapot screams it in your face.
Fareed Skubal. Thank you.
There you go.
So those are like probably the big 3. But
Eric.
if DeGrom won the Cy Young Award, would that surprise you?
Yes. Does it mean he'd be healthy enough to pitch?
But
long enough?
I mean,
If he
what
stays
was
healthy-
more surprising? What would be more surprising? DeGrom winning the Cy Young this year or Sale winning the Cy Young last year? Because I didn't expect Sale to win Cy Young last year either.
No, it's a good comp. That'd be
Sale was
very
a bigger-
parallel.
Yeah, probably a bigger surprise.
Yeah, that's a really good pass. It's like Jeff just said. Those two guys have very similar 4 years before Snell's last year and before DeGrom this year. So it's not impossible. And people like DeGrom. He's exciting to watch.
1,600 strikeouts,
Very exciting.
84 career wins. 84. Not great.
First Hall of Famer with less than 100 career wins. Starter pitching.
Yeah, I mean,
If you ever thought like people like my father who get upset about pitching nowadays and relief pitchers getting in, if you want to see them melt down, put a starting pitcher in with less than 100 career wins in the Hall of Fame. That would cause a scene. So
Hey, but I still think he's a better Hall of Fame case than Billy Wagner.
oh, without a
But
doubt.
yeah, I would vote for, like, in regards to peak, he was very good for 4 or 5 years. Like, one of the best pitchers in baseball, won 2 Cy Youngs and back to back. Like, he was very good.
Yeah, he was great.
All right.
But
Well,
I mean, seeing the complete lack of interest that Johan Santana got from the Hall of Fame voters,
yes.
was also dominant for those similar couple of years. And like Chris said, he should have won his 3rd Cy Young.
Yeah.
And he just got thrown right off the ballot.
Yeah, didn't even get looked at twice. I think under 5%, right, Jeff? The first time.
I thought so. I thought he was really low percentage, and he still had twice as many wins as DeGrom.
Yeah, I mean, he literally gave his career and almost gave his life to throw the first no-hitter in Mets franchise history. Hopefully, they'll retire his number at Citi Field.
They should. They should. One thing about Jacob deGrom that's very interesting, he has like no rookie cards. Like he has 3 or 4 autograph sets, and the real one autograph is the best. That and the finest redemption out of 100 are the 2 best. Those still both command a good price. So I don't really know if there's any opportunity to really be had with Jacob deGrom. Like his real one autograph's $306.95. Maybe there's something there. Like, what could that get? His PSA 10 sold for $635 in a real auto. Like, how can you go up?
It's kind of like Sale, right? I mean, he had that great year, but there wasn't a huge boost in a lot of his cards.
I would look. I mean, look at Snell. Like Snell. So Snell also has 2 Cy Youngs, just like deGrom does. And his cards. It sounds like his cards are a fraction of what deGrom is.
Fraction. A fraction of deGrom.
I wouldn't touch deGrom, but I would be interested in picking up a couple like low mid-end Snells at those prices and just see what happens. Yeah. I think it'd be very flippable. But again,
especially to Dodgers fans, they buy cards. So you absolutely at the National this year.
Yeah, he puts up a couple big moments with the Dodgers.
Yeah. Ty, are you buying that card? You better.
The 1-2 of like Glasnow.
This is a FOMO regret.
Yeah. It's interesting. You got 2 guys that have incredible stuff, really hard to hit. Both have been very fragile. But they're like, imagine in a playoff series, you got to face those guys back to back. They're so different.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that could be nasty. And then if you do happen to beat one of them, you got Yamamoto, Sasaki, and Ohtani waiting. In the
maybe Kershaw, maybe Dustin May, maybe Tony Gonsolin. No matter what, you're facing a good pitcher, essentially.
Yeah, you're going to face a good pitcher.
All right, let's wrap this one up. We're way over time. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.